Let's go.
Good morning, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. Mark, would you like to lead us in the flag?
Salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, welcome. Item 3, any citizen desire to be heard. I do have one, and he's here to talk about item 14, so if the board don't mind, I'd like to move the agenda, item 14, to the top of the agenda.
Please.
And 14 will be consideration of possible action on a resolution establishing a two-way stop sign at the intersection of Pennsylvania and Simmons in District 1. Carson, I believe? Correct. You're up.
Thank you, sir. So, Corson Smith, resident of Logan County, District 1, talked about the improper stop sign. Per federal guidelines on the manual and uniform traffic control devices, certain warrants or certain conditions must be met in order for placement of an all-way stop sign. That has to do with the number of vehicles, pedestrians, or any other special considerations that may be considered to meet those warrants. Based off on available data, there is no justification for that stop sign being present. It is also inconsistent with the actual the neighborhood as far as how the roads are laid out. It is a section line road, rural road. The stop sign is in the middle of that, which is inconsistent with drivers' expectations. So drivers are not expecting that stop sign there. Also, it demonstrates no safety purposes whatsoever for that. There's line of sight there. Like I said, there's also a lack of traffic. You're probably getting 2 trips a day on the minor roads there, so it doesn't meet the ADA requirements for that one. Also, it appears that that stop sign is being used as a traffic control measure. And per the federal guidelines, you do not use regulatory signs as a way of doing speed enforcement. And so therefore, it's actually kind of in violation of the federal guidelines. Unless an engineering study can be conducted, it's actually opening up the county to liability because it is improper and does not meet federal guidelines.
And this is, I asked him to keep him coming. This is actually what he does for a living, just not for us.
I'm gathering that.
But if you go out to that intersection, there is the resolution that we're asking to rescind and replace. There is no limited sight distance. There is not. And there's only 2 homes to the west there. And so that's what I'm going to do. I make a motion based upon what I've gathered and as many complaints that I've gotten in the last couple of years on item 14 that we establish a 2-way stop, Pennsylvania and Simmons, and in doing so, we'll remove the 3-way stop.
So you're having it through road on Pennsylvania?
Right now, we're stopping Pennsylvania, even though we have no cross traffic.
Right.
There's literally 2 houses down the road and thousands going north and south.
I'll make a motion, we accept it.
Mark made a motion.
Oh, Mark made a motion. I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on item 14? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your input. Any more citizens want to be heard? No. Item 4, consideration of possible action on the minutes of June 2nd, 2025.
With the minutes, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I will second Mark's motion. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 5, consideration of possible action on awarding the following bids tabled from June 2nd, 2025.
So bid 2025-23, which was the 3D scanning of the courthouse. Matt Graves, the architect, did review the 3 submissions. I have a written recommendation to the board to accept the bid of Arrival 3D in the amount of $14,850, which was the lowest responsible bid.
I'll make a motion that we approve Arrival bid.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. I do have a question on all these bids. I know some of the other counties in the state of Oklahoma, when they go out for 6 months bids, they award the bids to everybody. Then whoever can't fulfill, is that,
Per the auditor's office, that is not legal.
I think they just changed that law
Like just when, because I've seen
this
nothing
session,
about it.
this session. That, and don't hold me to this, don't, we need to verify what I'm saying. I don't even know if the governor signed it, but where automatically the next bid,
So we can, I mean, if we have a bid and somebody can't provide it, there's mechanisms, depending on what it is, to go down. But to just unilaterally, at this point, to my knowledge, as of this morning, we can't award. The purpose of a bid is to select a vendor and award a bid. If someone cannot fulfill their end of that, the mechanisms, whether, depending on the item, it be by phone quote or going to the next available.
I think it was a Josh Cantrell bill.
But as of right now, to my knowledge, there's nothing in place that says, hey, whoever sends us a bid, you get it.
I can't verify it, so.
So right now, if we accept a bid to one, just say for instance, rock, if I accept a bid for rock out of Drumright, and their plant's broke down and I need rock, then I could go to a different place to get rock for that time.
you can?
We can't.
Okay,
But it's dependent on the awarded vendor
Right.
unable to fulfill.
right,
It's not saying at this point, everybody gets it.
right.
There's been a lot of times, TJ Campbell, I can't get asphalt, so I call Haskell and they in the hopper, so I go to Haskell
And we document on the POs that
Right,
this is why we didn't use our awarded vendor, they couldn't provide,
right.
et cetera, and so on.
Well, I just had some people ask me about that, so I just wanted to bring it up.
Well, I'll
Before we
check.
do, I don't wanna swear by anything until we verify.
That may be something for the next go-around we can address. Because even if the governor signs, it won't be effective till November 1.
Shouldn't be.
Unless there was an emergency for July 1, so.
So District 3 on asphalt laid in place, the lowest and best bid for District 3 was Haskell Lemon.
I gotta find all these, hold on.
One of those bids, that was District 1.
Is that virgin or recycled?
I'm going with recycle. I'm just taking Haskell Lemon.
Yeah, I got Haskell Lemon as well.
So I'm clear, that's districts 2 and 3, Haskell Lemon for asphalt laid in place, District 1 is Atlas. Somebody making that motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second on asphalt laid in place. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next is 6-month asphalt products.
Picked up by all districts. District 3 is gonna go with TJ Campbell.
District 2 is going with TJ Campbell.
TJ Campbell.
Do we want to do a motion on every one of these, or can we just do, this probably, we probably should.
Well, if it's the one bid and you just want to
Right.
incorporate between the pickup and the delivery, I think you can do that in a single motion.
Well, I'll make a motion that all 3 districts go with TJ Campbell for asphalt picked up.
And
Second.
delivered,
And no, picked up.
okay. So you're gonna do them in a separate motion?
Hang on, I'm gonna do it first.
I got TJ Campbell and delivery.
Yeah, they're the little bids for District 1.
Yeah, TJ Campbell and Boone.
Okay, so is
Make
there
a
a second?
motion.
Monty made a motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Coal patch is on the list, but we did award that when we opened.
Right,
So we're down to ballots for 1 year. I have received written recommendation from Shalene Winscott, who's the Secretary of the Election Board, asking that the board accept the bid of Midwest Printing for the next year of ballot printing.
Make a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Base repair. Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
District 3, boy, it's hard to come up with a vendor on this. The mobilization fee is so much different per ton. Haskell Lemon is probably the cheapest, but they got a $8,500 mobilization fee, and TJ Campbell's got a $5,000 mobilization fee. And there's only
District 2 chose TJ Campbell.
I think District 3's gonna go Haskell Lemon.
Me too, District 1, Haskell Lemon. So I'll make a motion, District 1 and 3 go with Haskell Lemon, and District 2 goes, awards it to TJ Campbell.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, motion carries. Good old rock. I want to take Stuart Stone out of Pawnee.
I believe, just for clarification, that we've just done the vendor, either location, we're going with the company.
Stuart Stone for District 3.
Stuart Stone.
Qualified drum right for District 2.
Now, I can give you a qualifier if you need one from me, since Stuart Stone's not the low bid, but they are the ODOT approved rock.
Well, they have it.
Yeah.
I went to. But rock delivered, I'll go with the only bid we got. Maybe we did that last.
We did not. So for pickup, I've got Districts 3 and Districts 1 taking Stuart Stone, District 2 taking Quapaw. That's for pickup. And delivery, we only had one bid of Brown Transportation. So are you going,
Are you including that in your motion? Yes.
okay.
I'll second Mark's motion. We got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Alrighty, item 6, consideration of possible action on contract with L. Wallace Construction for bid number 2025-22 for re-roof of the barn at the Logan County Fairgrounds in the amount of $137,957.
So I have all of the required bonds in place, a signed contract from the vendor, so this is set to go. When he delivered the contract, he said that he hoped to have the project completed maybe the 1st of July, more than likely the second week of July.
I will make a motion to approve the contract.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, consideration of possible action on fiscal year 25-26 interlocal agreement with Canadian County for housing of inmates in the Logan County Detention Center.
Sheriff, I need your signature as well. 2 copies.
Sheriff, you good with this?
Yes, sir.
I'll move we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries.
set aside, and
Item 8, consideration of possible action fiscal year 25-26 general mutual cooperative agreement with Oklahoma County for repairs on Waterloo Road.
Make a motion.
second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, motion carries. Nine, consideration of possible action on the following fiscal year 25-26 contracts and agreements.
Impuro for drug testing. I think that's just you as chairman.
You need a motion for drug testing?
You can do those separately, we agendized it this way, if you want to pass them all in a single, that's gonna be up to you. There's routine, standard fiscal year renewal. Task,
Yeah.
this is task for the assessor's oil and gas valuations.
And I'm assuming all these, Marion, all ones get.
Oh, yeah, they've all, it's been through the process before it got here.
Just need one signature.
On that one, yeah. This is the contract with the state of Oklahoma Juvenile Affairs to reimburse the sheriff for the juvenile detention transportation. Data Scout, which is software for the assessor. Wilson Dodson is the budget maker for fiscal year 25-26. That's it for that item.
I'll move we approve the agreements.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed, motion carries. Item 10, consideration of possible action on resolution disposing of a damaged 2,250 gallon tank belonging to Coal Fire Department and being donated to FAIC Fire Department in Chakota, Oklahoma.
The tank was damaged in the wildfires, and it's not feasible for Coyle to be able to repair it. But Chakota is a much smaller, much poorer department that says, hey, we can take it and make use of it.
Make a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. 11, consideration and possible action on resolution for this NACO-SIG workman's comp program for fiscal year 25-26 and selection of premium payment option of $202,989.
So the annual premium for workman's comp for the next fiscal year is the $202,989. It's up about $25,000 over last year. The options are to pay it in a single payment before July 31st in full. You can option 2, which is to pay it in 2 payments. They do charge a fee for that, which would send it to $206. We always take the first option and pay it up. So we have a resolution to participate in the option selection.
I'll let the floor look at it since, here's option 1 and 2. Maybe this charges a fee if we don't pay it.
Right,
So,
right.
I do know of a couple of counties that have pulled out, did private, and have desperately tried to get back into this pool.
Right. So, but ACO covers maybe not every county in the state, but probably the
More,
majority.
more than the majority.
Right, so,
Yes.
74.
so our rates are determined on the entire, of the entirety of everybody they cover, correct?
Yes, so we have two different pools with ACO. We have the workman's comp pool, which is what this is for, and then we have the property and liability pool. That documentation, I reached out to Dusty, it has not been released yet, so I don't know how that, for property and liability, this is just comp. But it is self-insurance pools
Right.
among those counties that participate.
Now, part of the cost part is losses at sheriff's department across the state. Ours is always used as an example of a good sheriff's office and jail. So I want to give kudos to him, but everybody
But that's
else
on the
in the
other
state,
policy.
yeah. Now, one of the reasons why they're starting to charge more money and we have to pay that other is that pool is just like any other insurance. It pools with other entities. And the entities that it pooled with, all that rioting that tore up government buildings here gets caught up, and now they dropped some of them. And we had to go with another, they had to go with another company.
Right.
So,
Underwriting.
on the comp, they do reevaluate each year, they do a look back. Last year, we actually got a $6,000 refund check from ACO, because 2 years before that, when everything washed out, the claims were not as high, because they have to anticipate the claims.
Right,
And so they do, you know, look at and reval and will issue if they can.
but this is an annual thing.
This is annual, and this one is workman's comp only.
Yeah, so it had nothing to do with property.
I'll have that one, I'm sure, for the 30th.
I think a year ago, they came around and looked at every piece of property and reevaluated it.
Have we looked at anything other than that? You say people were out of it trying to get back in it.
There's been a few counties that went out and tried to get back in.
You gotta have it.
It's tough to find
Right, yeah. I
other
understand.
coverage that
Right.
accept the risks of jails and
Right,
bulldoze drivers and that kind of thing.
right.
Clerks in the office over there.
That's right. Huge liability.
Huge. What are you guys thinking?
Gotta have it.
I make a motion, we approve it and pay it in one amount.
Option one.
Option.
I'll second Mark's motion. We got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Item 12, consideration and possible action on a resolution to submit an application for unpaved road grant in the amount of $75,000 improvements for County Road 75 between Pennsylvania and Tonks Road in District 3. With this one, I'll have it resurfaced all the way from State Highway 74 to State Highway 77, all on these grants. I will make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. This will be our third one to complete that stretch of road. Item 13, consideration possible action on proposed with WS Bean Engineering to provide stormwater management program services for fiscal year 25-26 in the amount of $18,500.
Can you take this?
Yeah.
Okay, so the backstory is, it's been 8, 7, it's been quite a few years that DEQ determined that certain areas within the south part of the county fall into what they call the urbanized area and is subject to stormwater regulations. At that time, we pushed back and said we don't have any authority to deal with that, and it ended up into a years-long, 8 years now, that we've battled back and forth with DEQ about this compliance in this program. Previous ADA Lowell had done a lot of research and submitted legal opinion on our behalf. However, the ultimate is, this is federal, and you're gonna do it. We put up a good fight, but we're having to kind of give in. So I met with Mark, and Stephen met with representatives of DEQ about how we can comply with what they need, but at the most minimum, because Logan County in the unincorporated areas does not have planning and zoning or building permits. We have no clue who's building what where to know what someone's doing that would divert water or have an issue. They are, at least finally, we've got DEQ to recognize that that is a situation. If you don't know because there's no permit who's building, you can't hold us accountable for that.
How do we change that?
How do we change what?
Building permits and,
It would take a vote to create a planning commission, and I will tell you that this county had a planning commission in the late 70s, early 80s, and the citizens voted it out.
Amen.
I'll vote against it.
I'm not asking for like zoning, but you have people that live around these developments and nobody is checking where their water is coming from off that development, and it's washing these other people out who've been there 50 years.
So here's the thing with us not having those regulations. Just because we, as Logan County, do not, does not mean that that property owner is still not liable and having to adhere to state and federal.
That's what I'm,
Okay, and even the notice that we put out about that specifically states that all developers and property owners must adhere to any state and federal. The county does not have,
Right.
but that doesn't absolve them from any other requirement
federal
of state and federal.
okay,
So this, what they call an MS4, is about 22 total square miles out of the county. And it's all based on population. And because these areas to the south, we get wrapped up with the population of Oklahoma County, and that's what caused this situation with the stormwater. We are going to have to do some minimal stuff that we're not equipped knowledge-wise with. We just don't have that. This, WS being Morgan, what is her name? Morgan Lazoya is the stormwater engineer. I have reached, and there's a few counties that are in our position with these small MS4s, and what do? And they are contracted with the same company. It's the only one in the state that could be found that would do this type of work. Essentially, she is gonna draw the plan to hit the marks for DEQ of this is what we can do that will fall within those federal guidelines for stormwater. And essentially, it's going to be things like put notice on the county website, Facebook post of, hey, do you know about stormwater? The biggest thing that DEQ wanted was understanding we don't have a permitting, or we can't go out and just check things. However, they would like to see us in a plan say we would take a see something, say something approach. So what DEQ said the day we met with them is, you know, if you'll just instruct your employees, put it in document you give to them. If you see somebody doing something, say something to us, we'll take care of it. They are not anticipating or expecting us to be their enforcement.
So where we need to spend 18,000?
Because if we don't, the penalties are, you know, 10,000 a day or whatever.
The way I say it, I don't work for DEQ and they don't tell me what to do. I mean, DEQ wants us to do their job. If DEQ wants us to do their job, we don't need DEQ. If DEQ wants to pay the $18,000, I'm good with it. That's just my opinion.
The problem is we're falling under a federal regulation that goes to the state, and we fall under the state as a political subdivision. The original proposal for this was over 35,000. After we met and realized that it's going to be a much smaller requirement to get into quote-unquote compliance, the $18,000 proposal is what came in at. And there's no guarantee it will max out at 18.5. That was just kind of the top line of what they need to do. Also, what was anticipated and planned for in this was looking at using these services for 2 years. Let her write the plan. It has to be an official plan that's written and submitted to DEQ. Get us up and running, and then Stephen and Sean would take over the program and run it. So we're not looking at this company as a permanent, long-term thing. It's get us up and get us compliant with the minimum that we have to do, get them educated in what it would take to remain compliant, and then they'll take it.
No, I wasn't part of it before, but I can tell you, our meeting with DEQ, they weren't threatening, they were, let's work together to figure out what we can do, so you're in compliance, and we're satisfied, or we're in compliance. Now, that has nothing to do with whether you're for it or against it, I just wanted you to know they were very professional.
And I would like to point out that this only applies to that area that's in what they've designated as that MS4 urbanized area. It's not the whole county.
Right.
It's a very, like I said, a total of about 22 square miles out of the county.
But doesn't the hydrologist, I believe I called CED for a hydrologist, came out, I think he works for, wouldn't he be able to do the same thing?
I don't know. I don't deal with storm, I deal with water that runs down the road.
Right.
Different type thing, I think, than what it is.
Water running through a creek or a ditch.
Well,
Same
either
thing,
way,
right?
we wouldn't, and I don't want the authority to go and tell them what to do on private property. And if you did a planning, then you would have that authority. But once you scramble that egg, you can unscramble it, and the people will suffer down the road for it.
So DEQ started out, when this started 8 years ago, effectively wanting us to do that, be their enforcement. In fact, told us, you'll drive up that driveway and see what's being built. And no, it's private property, we
They
won't.
backed up on that.
They didn't want us to, they sit right here and told me, well, I'm gonna find you $10,000 a day, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and I said, I don't know what you do.
We heard no threats in this meeting.
No, I think that they've had to learn a lot. I think the assumption, and we get this a lot, I answer a lot of phone calls. The assumption is that any building or anything like that that will take place is gonna have a governmental control at the local level.
Is this something we could table and talk to the CED and see if they, because I don't know why that hydrologist couldn't do the same thing.
Because I don't
And it
think
wouldn't
that,
cost us
but-
18.
but-
He's not going around
He's not
South Logan
stormwater.
County looking for people in violation.
No, they have the topography maps, they can tell you
But
the
it's not-
rise and the fall of the land and how much water's coming through
but
here.
that's not what this is. This is about builders.
What they're looking for is, does this builder have up this silt fence?
Right.
Is he doing, and CED ain't gonna run around,
No, they're not gonna run around looking for silt fence,
and
but
neither is this county either, they're just gonna write
write a
up a
plan for
18
Stephen and
months.
Sean to run around and look.
All this is saying is she creates the plan to qualify us at the most minimum level that we can with DEQ, which says that we will put something on our website about stormwater regulations, that we will have a plan that will include, that we will tell our employees, most specifically the sheriff in your districts, because they're the ones out and about. If you see something, we'll tell DEQ, and then it's on them to do something about it. One of the other things that was discussed because of the builders was when they come in to file a plat, we give them a notice that says, okay, this is your responsibility. It's not a matter of us doing any enforcement or any driving around, it's just, the way I understand it at this point, after 8 years of this fight, just make some information available.
I think, so you're saying that we're not gonna have any authority in this thing, we're gonna put together a plan that we have, or they're gonna put us to plan, we have to accept that plan to be in qualification with DEQ, but yet we're not gonna do any enforcement, we're gonna put out some writings that says you have to follow, state and federal guidelines for building and your runoff.
Yeah.
Why the heck wouldn't we just write something up ourselves instead of giving them?
Because it has to meet certain things that qualify federally.
Now, the DEQ did say, you know, we're not looking for a 30-page
Yeah.
document. 8.5 by 11 is a good document. Just tell us what you're gonna do minimally to,
And it's really because Logan County, without the other governmental authority of planning and zoning and permitting and all of that, we don't have a county authority for that. But because of this urbanized area, federally, we fall under this issue. So it's trying to find the happy balance of what we can do and keep them somewhat happy.
Sir, at this time, if you're open to citizens desiring to be heard,
I don't know that we can.
I understand. I would offer some advice to the board, but if you can't, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't
understand that.
think we can at this time.
All right.
I think it gets us off the hook and gets them off our back. I went to that meeting thinking, I'm coming to fight. And they weren't fightable, and they didn't want to fight.
I think it puts us in, later down the road, more compliance. I think it's just an opening. It sounds like to me, and we're gonna spend $18,500 for somebody to write a plan for us. And 3-4 years down the road, we're gonna pay them another $18,000 to advance that plan.
The plan
I mean,
has
that's-
to be redone, but the plan at this point, from this perspective, was this gets us up and running for 2 years. And in that 2-year time, EM has offered to say, look, we'll learn what we need to do, because at this point, I don't think there's any possibility of this county going planning, zoning, permitting, and putting us in that they can update the plan as required under federal law and that, and we won't need. This is not being looked at as keeping this forever. It
No.
would be shifted to in-house.
If I understand this part correctly, which I wasn't part of, but Logan County's legal advisor has fought the fight and ended up saying you're gonna have to comply in some capacity? Am I understanding that
It really came
correctly?
down to, well, so, to go further back, yes, Lowell put up the big fight and wrote letters, and we've been through probably 15 different DEQ people, some who stormed in here quite like Monty, and you know. We finally reached one, Mr. Lehane was with DEQ and understood. Oh, you don't have planning and zoning, you don't know who's building, you're not in, you know, and understood. So then he started looking at it through the lens of, well, let's see. And his last thing with me was, send me your legal counsel, we'll send it up the chain and see what happens. It went over 3 years before we heard anything more. Lowell had since retired as ADA. We got a nasty non-compliance letter from DEQ about this stormwater. My response was, here's all our legal stuff, here's the emails from Mr. Lehane who says, we'll let you know from this point, and I've never heard another word. So that's kind of where we came back into it here. They have since provided their legal with federal laws, because the state has accepted the federal laws, and we're a political subdivision of the state. That's where that came down. That you'll do what we need, but at least at this point, contrary to when this started, they recognize that our hands are tied in a lot of ways, right? We're not gonna drive up on private properties and inspect. We have no authority to do that. We have no authority to do any of this. So they have come forward enough to say, okay, we can work with you to hit some minimum requirements that will keep the feds happy and allow you all to not be forced into a compliance issue.
What do you guys want to do?
I'd like to know more about it. I just feel,
It affects District 1 and District 2. I'm definitely not going to support doing the zoning and planning, ever. I know that's not the proposal on this agenda, but I'm not. And that's the next step
That's what it says.
of what they want. If we can draw a line in the sand and give them the minimum, I know it's costing $18,000 to develop this plan. I don't know. The outcome, I don't know. I don't know how much, because like I said, this was a very non-threatening meeting that we had. There was no threats whatsoever.
Well, every meeting I've ever had with EQ was a threatening meeting. They come up, I was burning trees at our shop, and, they threatened, oh, you're gonna pay $10,000 a day for burning trees and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, my neighbor next, right across the fence is burning trees. Well, that's different, he's a farmer. So I'm held to a different standard because we're kin. So they said, you gotta have an air curtain. But they gave me $50,000 to buy an air curtain. Well, they give me $18,000 to buy this concrete. I just, I don't know. I can tell you, I'm not a DEQ fan after all this crap I've been through. I don't think I work for them. I work for the citizens of Logan County. The legislators make our laws, and I don't think DEQ is a legislator. And it's just my opinion. It's on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion.
I think we're gonna end up having to do something, but if he would like to learn more about it, maybe we can have him come and explain. I
What's
don't know.
Max know about it?
This was not, I mean, this was all started in
It's all
Lowell. I
before
have
Max.
not, I haven't ran it back through Max because we have all the other legal that was already done.
I'm not.
I guess I don't understand, Floyd, what's your hesitation? Is it just the money thing
It's the
or
money, and I'm afraid it's gonna escalate down the road.
escalate
And you're
to
sitting there
what?
saying we don't want zoning and this and that and the other, and I think that's probably where that's gonna
They
end up
can't
going.
force us to create a zoning,
Well, they're gonna force you into doing stormwater.
but as far as this, I mean, they can't come in and demand you go to planning and
I
zoning.
mean, I got a,
They're demanding this. I mean, what's the difference of
Right.
planning and zoning?
I had a complaint, I had to go check, and it's not even county maintained roads, but the water off the development of I-35 and Waterloo is out of their retention dam, I guess, is pumping right into these people's yard to the north. And I'm not talking 1 yard, I'm talking from the south end to the north end of this entire place. And I told him, I said, I'll go talk to the guy, but there's not a whole lot I can do, it's a civil matter.
No, that's the example of see something, say something. Tell the complainer to call DEQ. Then it's on them to deal with it.
Well, I told them to call Corporation Commission and they would direct them.
Well, no, that would be where we would, to comply with this, right? We say, that's a DEQ issue, you need to call DEQ.
But why do we need to pay $18,500 to print, or to have them put together a point? I just think it's more.
Because none of us hold an engineering degree to develop a plan, that's what it's really about. But I understand the frustration on it too. I don't like government telling us what to do.
It's up to you guys.
Well, it's up to the three of us.
Items on that.
I'm willing to,
I'd like to see something showing where we're gonna be in 5 years, following this, There's nothing, I mean, yeah, this is a 2-year plan, and you said yourself it's the minimum. Well, what's the minimum gonna be after that 2 years?
But I can't predict
I
that,
know you can't, but I guarantee you they can. They know what's going
When
on.
I say minimum, it's minimum that we can hit with the parameters we're working with, which is the fact that we do not have building permits, therefore we don't know who's building what to
Right.
be able to do any kind of rules for that.
I understand that.
So,
But I'll guarantee you, they know how much development, what the population growth is in Logan County. They know all of that, and they can put some kind of prediction on it.
so Floyd, here's the thing, we can facilitate a meeting with you and DEQ. If you wanna take this over, you're more than
I
welcome
don't
to.
wanna take it over, but I'd like more information on it. I'd like the three of us to get more information on it.
We can try to have a meeting with DEQ.
Well, I only have a motion on this item, so,
Well, I want consensus, and if we need more information before one, it might, we may never have one, and I'm okay with that.
so maybe we need to have DEQ come to a Board of County Commissioner meeting and do it on camera. Cause I'm not gonna second the motion anyway,
Well,
I'm not gonna make much.
so item dies.
and if we need
No
to,
action.
if we need to go to the DA and ask more, then we ought to do that.
We already did item 14, so I'll skip to item 15, consideration of possible action on ingress and egress agreement with David Hennessy for clearing right-of-way of 915 North 2 West in District 2.
Make a motion.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Item 16, consideration of possible action on acknowledging receipt of notice of court claim from Shalene Price and Ford Echo Claims. I will move that we acknowledge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Nothing for 17, 18.
Nothing for 17 or 18. Item 19, consideration of possible action on consent agenda items.
Mr. Smith, you're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to go, so you
Appreciate it.
sit in that back. Here, Mr. Smith.
Shut up. I'm gonna take my break, gotta go back to work.
Mr. Smith?
Thank you.
Now, you gonna-
That's already done.
Those are transfers. This is a fund-to-fund to correct an error. We put money in the wrong account. Blankets. Actually, I put it marked and it goes to you.
Thank you.
County reports.
Yeah.
those reports are it for consent.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, the motion carries. Item 20, discussion and possible action on payments for payment for June of 2025.
Over here too. This is all we do. All right.
Over's over. There you go. I think he had one for 9 cents a couple of weeks ago. So see.
You're getting better.
It's just your month with the short straw.
I make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, the motion carries.
Nothing 21.
No action on 21. We'll go to 22. Comments, announcements, questions by the Board of County Commissioners or other county officers and department heads. Stephen? Sheriff? Troy? Mark?
I don't believe so.
Floyd?
No.
Well, I'd like to thank Floyd for coming out and helping us on Triplet Road. We do have it opened up to traffic. It's not complete by all means. We'll have to let it settle and then pave the road back. But I think today they're installing riprap on the slope, so Oklahoma Natural Gas was not very easy to deal with. It was pretty tacky out on the project. Didn't see any need in it. I mean, we just had a job to do. They got a job to do, and there's no need in getting ugly about it. Anyway, that's all I got. Item 23, consideration possible motion on adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.